Why is it that when you look at the top, say 100 pool players in the world, you find 100 different strokes? Here's this thing that keeps bugging me, and I keep coming back to it in my mind, and I don't really know how to say it perfectly, so just bear with me, because I'm just going to let the camera run and I'm going to talk. Fundamentals in pool. Everyone sees fundamentals as a specific physical form, like a picture you copy, right? Like the definition of fundamentals is this XYZ thing you do with your body. And that makes just so little sense to me. Let me explain. I think that they are just qualities, concepts that build a foundation of a player's physical game, right? They are a set of things that your game needs to do, and your job is to find the right way for your specific body to align with those things in whatever way already just naturally works for you. Now, when you're brand new to pool, yes, start with a picture to copy. Textbook fundamentals are great to start with, right? Like having a default set of rules, right? Rules of thumb to get you making a ball, and or at least like know why we stand or move our arm in a certain way, etc. I agree, right? That is the best way to start your game. That's the best way to start your game. I agree. Let's start with that. And yes, by the way, there are keto brains in here. Go check it out. Yeah, start with textbook. But this, like the second you have a grasp on that, the why underneath, that's when I believe that the real work starts and the real improvement is made. That's not like a common skill, by the way. That's usually where an instructor would come in and help you, right? Having the objectivity to know what works for your body most naturally, most efficiently, most consistently. That's a difficult thing to know how to do on your own. But that's everything. Understanding the principles like that build those fundamental concepts, right? You got to do that first and then go find your version of that. By the way, the evidence for this is vast, right? I already said it at the top. The best players in the world all look different, right? Long bridge or short bridge, flowy stroke, punchy stroke, elbow drop, or none at all. You know, you get different grips, different eye patterns, different stances, side stance, square on stance. I mean, what are we even talking about? It all works. You know, it's right there at the top for everyone else to see. And I don't see that as a problem we need to fix. I see that as a beautiful thing. And like, for some reason, every time I mention unorthodox mechanics from elite pool players, I almost always get some sort of pushback from folks, right? They'll say something to the effect of, oh, Joshua Filler is a natural talent, right? Or he has so much more natural talent than we do that he can actually pull it off. Well, I don't know. Or they put in so many hours that they work around all of those fundamental flaws and natural quirks, like they made it in spite of those things. I'm sorry, but do we really believe that at the top of the game, where it's measured in millimeters, by the way, that those flaws are those players overcoming it because they just have so much more natural talent and time? I mentioned Joshua Filler because last week I broke down Joshua Filler's stroke. And a lot of the response to that video was great. Wow, this is insightful, helpful. Or just agreeing that so much of this game is preference. But then some of the response is like this notion that, Filler can do it because he's special, right? I mean, yeah, okay, Filler is special. There's no argument there. But I don't know, what do you think? Every other elite pool player is also special with their quirks? Come on. That maybe every one of those guys is special because they were born to play pool. I mean, natural talent is a topic in itself, all right? I'm sure I'll do a video on that one day. But the way I see it, these players, they're not great in spite of their quirks. They are great because of them. They found a way to play pool that fits their body, that still follows the principles of good movement, without cramming themselves into some prescribed physical form. I say this all the time, description over prescription. And you see this in other sports too. Like look at MMA. The best guys in the world all have the same principles down. The timing, distance, striking, grappling. They just all express it in their own way. Nobody's a clone. And the principles are all shared, but they execute it, specific to each of their own bodies. Now, I'm sure there's tons of sports like that, but that's also just how I see pool. That is my philosophy. Now, I'm going to say this next part very carefully. We got this idea, especially here in the US, that good textbook fundamentals, good technique looks a certain way. And there's a bunch of reasons for that between instructors and content creators, images and videos that we all see online, especially with mechanics for some reason. There's this kind of, I don't know what the word is, like a know-it-allness. Right? There is one right answer and only we know what that is kind of energy. Don't get me wrong. Please don't get me wrong. I know for a fact there are plenty of instructors who are out there that agree, of course, there's not one way to play pool, right? And they have said it, right? They agree. But if you peruse the internet looking for good pool technique, or worse yet, ask AI what good pool technique is, which, by the way, you should never do because all AI knows about pool is just an amalgamation of those same talking points across the internet. None of that is consistent with what top-level pro pool looks like. And I want to be super clear here. I am not blaming anyone. I'm not pointing fingers. Seriously, I have so much respect for pool instructors. Every single one of them is doing something good for this game, and they deserve credit for that. I really mean that. I just think we would be better off if instead of pushing a narrative that perfect pool looks like textbook pool, that we instead actively pursued a message that textbook isn't the only book. And that comes down to how we talk about pool, especially online. Not that, that's not the prevailing message across the internet. Even though most players who have reached a certain level will probably tell you on the internet, that's just not how it works. You do what works for you. And honestly, you look outside the US, the Europeans especially, the way they bring up their players, the way they teach, the structure that they got around it, it's just different from what we have in the US. And I'm not saying we have to go and, copy the Europeans. There is a sort of European style stroke, right? Not that we should be necessarily chasing that. Again, find what works for you. I'm just saying that beyond the structure of their organizations and stuff, maybe it's just worth asking why they play so much better than we do. Just go ask the question. And this is one of the reasons why I make some of the videos that I do. Like when I break down filler or Feder or Jason Shaw or Yap, whoever, I'm not telling you to go spend all your time practicing to go become that guy. That's prescriptive. That would make me a hypocrite. I'm trying to tell you to just, I'm trying to get you to ask the question, like this thing that they do, this one quality in their game, could that actually make a difference in my game? That's the whole exercise. And yeah, like a lot of it does require you to have a real foundation first. I'm not going to pretend it doesn't. There's no skipping that part. Please go get yourself some textbook fundamentals first. But I'll tell you, where my own improvement has come from, like when I look back at my game, I stopped trying to force myself to look a certain way. And that's when I finally got better. When I accepted that sometimes the uglier my stroke, the better I hit a ball. Weird, right? And by the way, that's like a really freeing and fun thing to do. No expectations, just experiment, try stuff, you know, keep what works and toss what doesn't. That's when things really clicked for me. Right? Not that I'm the greatest player, by the way, I know that, you know, but the greatest improvements in my game came from doing things in this way, not being prescriptive. Not when I just mashed what a textbook said to do, but when I quit trying to do that. You know? Don't just experiment till the cows come home though, right? You got to pay attention enough to know when a change has actual potential in your game and when it doesn't. That's part of what makes getting a coach, by the way, so useful, so powerful. All right? And I'll be the first to say, I'm pretty new to all this, right? So maybe I'm just full of crap, and maybe my instruction is bad and everything I just said is terrible for the game. Genuinely possible, sure. And I know for a fact there are those of you who probably agree with that statement, but also, is it possible that there's like this tiny little fragment of truth in here somewhere that if we are trying to help people actually get better at this game, real people, taking lessons, hoping to improve, that maybe we ought to be guiding them towards whatever good fundamentals looks like naturally for them, instead of just handing them a picture and saying, here's what looks good, go copy that. And that's how I approach all of it. My game, my videos, the channel, instruction, all of it. It's all the same philosophy. I try things, I adapt, I get stuff wrong, I leave stuff out, I learn. I'm just trying to be honest and do what feels right to me. And that's worked out pretty good so far. There's room to get better, always room to get better. That's kind of the whole idea, isn't it? Like we're all just trying to get better. Anyway, let me know if none of this makes sense or if this was good and I should do more of this kind of thing. Like, subscribe, check out the affiliate links. They really do support me. That is a huge help. And leave a comment. If you have thoughts about the subject, please leave a comment and I will very likely see you there. Happy shooting.